rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first off, presentations. The course selection guideline, Ms. Cheyenne Hinkle.
Good evening, everyone. So we're just here to briefly go over some of the course changes that we've come up with for this school year. So all of this started when I began last fall discussing revamping our CTEs to better meet the needs of our students overall. So if you want to go to the next slide, I could get into, we did change the names of some of our programs. So for example, in our multimedia area, Mrs. Riccabon felt that, now that she's into these courses a little more and was able to build them up, she wanted to change the name so that they better explain what happens in her class and the diverse experiences that the students have. So that would be the first three. The practical math to financial literacy is being changed because of the state requirement that all students have a financial literacy class. Same with the digital literacy. And then the last three changes are due to our transition from our rehabilitation aid program, which that is the SIP that we follow, so we don't conflict with Columbia Montour, but we are changing it to medical sciences to include more general and more practical skills leading to multiple pathways in healthcare. So you can see the course additions here. We are changing the way our education program is set up to be a little more specific and more conducive to schedules with half-credit courses instead of full credit courses, and also offering the courses to 10th and 11th grade instead of 11th and 12th grade so that they're more accessible. We are going to be adding a half-credit elective to our music department to hopefully introduce students more into fine arts, music, drama, things like that. We are looking into adding, we will be adding a history elective, the People's Playlist, so history based on music as a primary source. We have 3 gym electives that we are adding to make our gym courses more diversified. And then the freshman experience used to be broken down into 4 quarter credit classes. We are breaking them into 2 half credit classes. Then we have, I'm going to talk about the innovation lab last, but then a half credit in Japanese culture. So we do have a full-time Japanese teacher, and we're hoping that this half credit course will bring more students into the Japanese language courses, kind of like getting their feet wet. And then also the financial literacy is somewhat of a new addition. Then we have the innovation lab. So this would be broken down between 4 teachers. So they would spend time with Mrs. Sarasoli, our business teacher, Mr. Swingle, who does more of our CAD and engineering, Mr. Hyde, our technical teacher, and then our industrial tech teacher, and then Mr. Hook, who would focus more on the computer science side of things.
That would lean heavily towards kids that maybe want to dabble with engineering.
Yep. And then in addition to that, we hope with the Innovation Lab, we're piloting this year an experience that students are doing with Penn College. It is a pre-apprenticeship in advanced manufacturing that could lead to, again, another experience with Penn Tech. It's all grant funded, where it would be a robotics, so tied closely with Sekisui, and I'm not really an expert in those areas, but experiences like that in the industrial manufacturing. So looking at the change in our medical science program and our education, these would be courses that we plan to add that would take place in the 27-28 school year. So the advanced health sciences and emergency care and clinical procedures, and then classroom management and then accounting software. that would be really the only different course that you'd see in our new business program. That we're taking the accounting and the MIS, the Management Information Systems, and merging them into one SIP code, which was the Administrative Entrepreneurship and Leadership.
So we did a couple things, tried to beef up our 339s, tried to make name changes attractive for kids, and also involve teachers into some of the courses that they came to us and wanted to develop. The engineering one being one of the examples.
I would say our teachers, they are very excited about being able to incorporate new classes into their curriculum. They're excited to plan them. They're looking for resources. And, you know, the survey we recently did that Dr. Shotwell sent out, the plans that we've been developing, we knew kind of what the students wanted, but I think the changes we made really reflect what the students are gearing towards. We had a large number of students say they were interested in the medical sciences field, as well as like the engineering construction areas.
With the financial literacy, the higher students, higher math students, when will they take that?
Right now, we're looking at the junior year. So the practical math falls in the junior year. It's basically going to replace that. Now, I would say there might be some flexibility for some of our students, depending on their schedule, if they have bigger plans, dual enrollment things junior year.
State requirement, as you know, you have to take it 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade.
I was thinking, I mean, we'll have kids still hoping to get to Calc BC. I'm just wondering how that's gonna fall into place. Are they gonna have to double up on their math for a year, or is it gonna be offered online for those higher kids? Or how will that be handled?
We haven't looked into an online option, but I think that's something that,
So I don't look at it as impeding on their ability to take math courses. It's just a state requirement that they're gonna have to take now, is that financial literacy class. It's just something I think we're gonna have to adjust to, almost look at it as almost kind of elective.
have credit, because they're all required, you know, they have the freshman foundations, but in the future, if we find that it is having conflicts with some of our students, I think there's flexibility in what grade they take it at least.
We'll try to work with any family as best we can. Certainly there are limitations with any schedule, but we'll try to work with people to try to get, I wanna get kids what they wanna take, as long as it's within our ability to do so.
And the financial literacy, that includes like personal finance?
Any questions for us on anything as far as new courses? Course selection guide will be on next week's agenda for approval, and then high school will start the process of getting that out to students. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, budget. We have the individual budgets here, I guess.
So we're gonna let middle school go first, because I know, Dave, you wanna get to the Hazleton game, so I'm gonna let you jump in.
Thank you.
First.
There's not a lot of changes from last year's budget to the proposed budget for the upcoming school year. The items in green and when they're in yellow are increases from when you start there with student transportation. The increase there is the increase that the bus companies have given us for students to go on trips. The ALC toner supply increase. There at the ALC, they've added some more consumable type of things when it comes to what they're doing down there. This year, they added about $1,000 more, so we had to try to find that money somewhere else, so we're gonna add it right into their budget. It's either middle school or high school, where they put that, they kind of just put the ALC budget at the middle school for the students down there at, by the football field there. Classroom supplies, that's all of the money for all of the teachers for their supplies throughout the school year. So we have about 75 teachers in the building, and you break that down, it comes out to only a few $100s per teacher to spend on all their classroom supplies for the students for the entire year. The increase that we added there was more just in the toner, ink, and paper. Believe it or not, we're actually using a little bit more paper at times, just because we want to make sure the kids' work is authentic, especially in some of the ELA courses that we're doing, where we're having the kids actually, we're making sure they're writing their own material in the classroom. So we're kind of getting away from the computer when it comes to some things that we're doing with a lot of writing prompts, especially with the writing. We're kind of, I don't want to say going backwards by any means, but we're making sure it's authentic writing. When we're not having the kids, with the opportunity to use AI and different stuff, we want to see it's authentic stuff there.
For presentation purposes, I left paper in each of the building budgets. It will be an in and out, but what we're going to do is move that into curriculum. But just for presentation purposes, I left the building number in there. It won't increase or decrease. We're just gonna move paper. Paper, I've never seen a district that they broke it down into buildings. Paper is a district expense. It's not a building expense. So, but for presentation purposes, we left it in the building budgets.
And then just as we go down through there, everything's kind of consistent from where it was last year. The supplies for industrial arts, and family consumer science, those are all consumables with the wood, and the family consumer with the food and different things that the kids are cooking. The decreases that we're looking at, we've removed the cell phones from the administration. And the dues, we broke that down a little bit, what we're actually spending, and as you go through there, I'm sure you guys had it all this ahead of time, so I don't know if you want to go through every item specifically, but added everything up, we're actually at a reduction of over $1,000 for the upcoming year.
So I did talk to all the administrators. They had district cell phones for the most part, with the exception of, I think, technology and maintenance. Everybody was willing to get rid of those phones. It was a pretty large cost that I appreciate the admin being willing. I don't think they were being really heavily used. We did keep the phones at each of the buildings. There is a phone in case of an emergency in the office with the secretaries, but that could be something we discussed down the road, that do we really need those as well? So. Any questions for Mr. Robbins? All right, you're up. Special Ed's gonna go next. Before Pam starts, I will tell you that the budget that's going on your screen is higher than what the district has budgeted the last several years. It's not higher in what you've spent. So what I mean by that is, on paper, your special ed budget looks much smaller this year. It's not what you're spending. This is what you're spending. So if you're, and it's historic the last handful of years, I'm just doing this so you don't have to. Just because you want it to be lower and it's higher, like, we can talk about changes systemically in Berwick's budget over the next couple months, but this number is what you're spending in special ed. So unless we make major changes in special ed, this is what you're spending.
All right, so I do have the special ed budget broken down through 3 funding sources. The first one is our IDEA funds. That is funds that are awarded to us each year. Overall, I did decrease this budget by $16,666. The amount per pupil that we receive for the number of special ed students that we have in their district is, last we used to get about $1,400 per student. We only got awarded from, for the state, about $1,000 per student. So there were small increases at certain, due to instructional rate for ESY for our teachers, our nurses for the instructional rate that does go up through the CBA, but we did decrease the mileage between buildings for travel, and then we also then decreased the adapted curriculum materials that we did have in the proposed budget this year, as we did not have those funds, so we did decrease the overall IDEA funding. If we do get awarded next year more funds, then we'll be able to book for more tuition and other costs, but I am projecting that we're not getting more than $630,000 total. Half of it does go to salaries, and we do spend for contracted services and in ESY about $343,000. The next funded sources are access. All of the funds in here, we do get reimbursed for our funds that we put through for access, as long as they are allowable costs. So the only items that we do put forth with this budget are items that we can get reimbursed for. It is going up by $12,000 due to our school site services. We did have to have outside contractor services as we don't have an in-district person, just due to then the death of one of our school sites. So we are increasing that going into next year to make sure that we can cover those contracted costs. So this overall went up by $12,000, but we will get reimbursed for everything that we do put through access. We do get reimbursed for through our cost settlement reports.
And those positions are posted, the school psychologist positions, but hopefully we'll find someone in-house, but until then, we need to use whatever we need to use.
And lastly, the district then funds the rest of the special ed costs for our contracted services, are gifted, and the majority is our tuition. So as Dr. Bendel has shared, we have spent for our tuition, where it says tuition and cyber tuition, we have spent and have it in the negative about $800,000. So we are projecting to be at that $600,000. And then our PRRI tuition, we do have more students that are in private special ed schools, juvenile detentions, homeless, foster. They're not all just private special education schools, but if they are in our area and we are in the LEA, we do have to pay for their tuitions even if they are in a juvenile detention or homeless if their parents live here. So overall, the district cost that we have spent was $630,000, but we are adding as an actual line item, so it does show rather than hope to cover those overages at the end of the year.
So what I said at the beginning, and I just want to make sure everybody understands, last year you had budgeted 1.9 and change. That is not what you are spending. You're spending 2.7 approximately. So this number that is on the board is a much more realistic special ed number than what you budgeted in the past.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. Last year, in February or March, we hired 2 special ed teachers. Purpose of those special ed teachers, that we were told, is to bring the students back to new story.
Yes.
Why are we still paying $431,000?
So I would have to double check my numbers. In February, we did bring 2 students back, I think by May. Our number was down to 7. And then we brought 2 more back by September for this school year, so they weren't going there over summertime because they still go through extended school year. So we started this year with only 5 that we had out of the 9, so we did bring back 4 students. However, starting this year, we did have a lot more students that are coming into KN1 that needed to get placed. Currently, in our emotional support classroom, we have 14 students internally. We do have 7 out of the 8, or out of the 9 that are currently registered to New Story that are in elementary. But we did have a lot of kindergarten kids that did go there due to physical aggression and other behavioral needs. So we did bring back 4 students last year to start this year. So this year we only started with 5 kids at New Story, but we are currently at 7 elementary and 2 secondary students, so we have 9 current students. So our goal is to always keep them in our own program here, as they're least restricted to not outsend. Depending on their behaviors for some of them or their medical needs, we do look at New Story or private special ed schools if we can. If we wanted to bring back more, we will be over, you can only have 15 students on a caseload, so we would have to look at another elementary emotional support teacher. We can only have 15 students that are on a supplemental or full-time on our emotional support caseload, so we currently have 14. So if we do want to bring more of those students back, we would need to then discuss the plan of what that would look like to meet their behavioral needs.
You're talking classroom, right?
Yes, a classroom and behavior team, just because some of them do have more physical restraints that we can be able to provide in our public school setting. We don't have like a behavior crisis team that can respond. Some of the students there are in restraints multiple times a day. But we did bring them back from last year, so we started this year with only 5. My goal was to not add more, but we've had students that were physically aggressive, threat to themselves or staff, administration, other students that were getting physically harmed by some students' choices.
Anybody have any questions, other questions? I think elementary will go up next, we'll just go through the buildings now. Greg or Joanne?
Good evening, everyone. East Berwick's budget, building budget here for this year and for next year is up there right now. Excuse me. West Berwick, East Berwick, very, very similar in numbers and in population, everything like that. But you can see, similar to the way the middle school had presented, our red columns are numbers that have gone down. Our green cells are items that have gone up. Similarly, that first one with Bodner copies, that got cut in half this year. We had combined both Nescapac and Salem numbers to get to that 15. Obviously, we don't need that at this point, so we were able to trim that in half. Our Scholastic Classroom magazines, that was a big change, and that's a change that is less for our building. However, that is still an expense for the district. Scholastic Classroom magazines moved over to the curriculum budget.
So when Liz goes through her budget, what we tried to do through this process is curriculum costs should be housed in her budget. That 10,000 is not a decrease. That 10,000 has just moved to her budget, which we'll talk about when she gets up.
And you see, I still have copy paper with an asterisk right there, as Dr. Bendel mentioned earlier about that being a district expense.
What happened to the KPN supplies?
I'm sorry?
Right below copy paper.
Oh, okay, so,
Or that can combine in general.
that was combined, yeah, there was really no change. KPN supplies and art was just another section, so to speak, of our general supplies. Just to simplify the ordering process, we combined KPN supplies and art with our general supplies, so that's why for the fiscal year 27, it's 18,640.
I thought you kind of was thinking.
Yep. Similarly with middle school, we too, as Dr. Bendel mentioned, cut out cell phones. We also had inter-district travel in there for the principal account, and I'm not positive, but I'm assuming that was in there from back when we had co-principals or assistants that were sharing buildings, and I'm assuming mileage was brought during that time. But at this point, we don't have that. We are able this year, or for the future year, we're a little over $47,000 for our building budget. So just with some of the movement of funds and some of the eliminations that we've had, we were able to trim the building budget by almost $20,000.
Out of that 20,000, some of that went to curriculum. So I
Correct.
don't want people, we're not trying to make you look at a number and play a shell game with you. That 20,000 is not a pure reduction. Do you know how much out of his?
I don't have out of each building, but you'll see overall when you look at the comparison
Okay.
between my two buildings.
But if you added hers, it's probably a slight reduction, not much.
Closer to the $8,000 to $9,000 range.
Everybody good with East? All right, West, you're up.
As Greg has mentioned, ours are pretty similar, so I'll just go over some of the highlighted increases and decreases. One thing that's a big difference between the two schools is the assembly transportation. Any assembly that we come up to the middle school, high school for, we have to get bussed up. Where here at East Berwick, they can walk over. So I think Greg's is 500, and obviously mine is much higher than that. For example, we're coming to the musical here in a couple weeks, and I'll probably have to get 8 or 9 buses to do that. And then same with the KPN and the general supplies. We combine those. I think there's around 1,600 that also went over to curriculum out of that, with that combination, as well as the 10,000 in the consumables. So that's the major decrease from the 48 to the 36 in the building budget. As for guidance, the 380, we went from 1 counselor to 2 counselors, so that was the reason that doubled. Library supplies, we went up 500 in the books. The other two, I thought were in my budget this year, they were not, so some of those supplies were covered out of my building budget, so that was just put back in to match East Berwick's. Like Dr. Bendel talked about with the cell phones, we all agreed to get rid of those. Also, there was $1,000 in my principal budget for inter-district travel that I've never really used, so I eliminated that as well. And then as the nurses, the bonding insurance was taken out, but everything else stayed the same there.
So historically, when we looked at the budgets, we looked at multiple years. That bonding money has never been spent. No one could really give me an explanation of it. Although for the past several, and I'm talking 5, 6, 7 years, there's no money spent out of that line item. So there's no reason to keep it.
So again, looking at that, building-wise, it's a $12,000, $733.50 decrease. However, some of that money has gone over into Liz's budget and curriculum, the majority of that.
Yeah, most all of that.
How does teachers travel?
That would be if they have a go on a conference. It's not covered under Liz's budget. I had someone that went in the summer last year, so I added that in last year and kept it in. But a lot of times that is covered through the curriculum.
Everything okay with West? High school, you're up.
So mine has a lot more lines, more than anyone else.
So before you start, I think it's only fair. I worked with Bo today, and Rachel did most of the work, but we categorized the budget. So you will see a little bit different of a budget than what was sent out. I think it was more pleasing to the eye. I think we'll do that with the high schools as well for next year for you. We did not do that for the high school this year, so we will, if that's a wish of the board, I'm happy to help make that happen, but Cheyenne wasn't given that direction this year. So there's a lot more line items in the high school than there is middle school, elementary.
So, as you can see, we made several reductions. We were able to eliminate lines, so similar to what Dr. Vendel was talking about. When I went through every account code that was put in front of me with fine tooth comb, we found some areas where there was no spending for several years. So you can see that some of them were zeroed out, and that's why I put some pretty in-depth explanations next to each line, so you can see if it was removed because we don't use it, if it was shifted to curriculum, or if it was reduced overall or increased, and why. So if you would like me to go through each line, I can. So looking at first line with Bodner, we reduced that. That is all of the printer and repair maintenance in our building based on past spending. That number can be reduced right there. That does not include paper. That's just maintaining all of the printers and copiers in our building. Like Mr. Robbins said, we also, we do have the Chromebooks, but with AI and everything, we encourage authentic writing on paper in a lot of our classrooms. The other professional services,
Do you guys want her to go through line by line?
okay.
Because she's gonna be there for like.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
if we did.
So if you'd like to
So-
take a minute and look and ask me questions about any single line, I'd be happy to answer it, because it would take me
We probably spend
over an hour.
more time with the high school budget than any of the other budgets. We spend multiple hours just going through previous budgets and trying to get to a realistic budget of what the high school is.
So I will say, the only areas that we did ask for increase were the student transportation, especially with our CTE programs and all the other opportunities that have been brought to us for, you know, student academic experiences, our student competitions, things like that, and the cost of busing, because I don't believe that was really increased due to budget rollovers and things. We did ask for a little bit more there. You'll see there's a slight increase in our van travel, same thing, the cost of busing and things like that. I am working closely with Mr. McDonald to talk about, you know, things that they will travel to and not, depending on if transportation goes up again next year, but we're keeping a close eye on that. And actually you'll see that if you look at, the lines are not numbered, but if you look about in the middle there, there's a 36,000. So last year that number was put there in error. We never requested $36,000. I believe I requested $18,000 last year, and based on this year's spending, we feel that 20 is a comfortable number. So that covers all of our band, transportation, chorus, and orchestra, including some of their PNEA travel, which varies depending on the number of students who go to each competition. The musical, there was a slight increase, but we have a plan in place with Dr. Bendel on how we are going to move forward with musicals in the future in a more cost-effective
So I'll
way.
talk about that.
Well, and then this year, the contract costs have gone up greatly for, especially for the bigger productions, the Disney ones, so that's.
So, everywhere I've ever been, the musical department has always been self-sustaining. And what I mean by that is, currently what the district does is it puts $10,000 in for the musical every single year. Then sales happen, and I still haven't seen it yet this year because the musical didn't happen, but I'm being told that we sell somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000 worth of sales. That sounds like a lot to me, but we'll see. But that money then went into the general fund. Well, everywhere I've ever been, there's been a student activities account created for the musical department so that that $15,000 can go into the musical account, and then they become self-sustaining. So then the following year, you're not gonna have a $10,000 number in the high school budget. They become self-sustaining, they have a little bit more ownership over set costs and things like that. But that's my plan, unless anybody is adamantly opposed to that. I think it puts a little more ownership on the department to self-sustain, and it, to me, makes sense. I think you guys did something similar with ticket sales and the athletic budget last year. Am I right? Wasn't there money put from ticket sales?
Well, some of the advertised money goes back to
Advertised,
facilities.
okay, I was saying
Back to
ticket sales, but
facilities.
advertised, so similar.
So we haven't been able to review the documentation yet, but over the last 5 years, besides like a COVID year, the musical has brought in anywhere between 15 and I wanna say around 22,000. Obviously the Disney ones, they bring in a lot more money, but they cost more money to get the contracts because of all the things, and they usually require a little more set-wise and things like that, but we're pretty thrifty. We were able to contact like an old colleague of mine from Loyalsock, and we bought their set secondhand, and so we try to make it work. But other than that, of the shifts and everything, the shifts to curriculum, another increase would be the senior Thanksgiving dinner, a slight increase, which we were able to cover this year, but obviously the cost of food has gone up. Nutrition group works really well with us to make that feasible for all of the people we feed that evening, and I know some of you saw it, it's a lot of people. And then student council actually buys the pies and stuff. So what is spent there is actually supplemented by our student council and interact groups with the desserts. And look for some other areas. Does anyone have any questions about the lines above in the white? So I'll explain the lines in the blue if anyone has any other. But all of the reductions were based on prior spending over 4 to 5 years. We looked back. So the ones that are highlighted in blue, they are actually stipend position. All of those numbers at some point in time, some of them a very long time ago, were board approved when those assignments were brought to the board for approval, and I do not touch those because they are board approved numbers. And there's nothing that dictates any change in those numbers. Unless something was eliminated because no one has held that position for several years, you would see a 0. But other than that, those numbers all stay the same. So overall, if you look at final numbers, we figured out that around 53,000 was shifted to the curriculum budget. So if you do the math, you look at the math there, we did save $23,000 overall.
So if that 53 was in the budget would be 308. Last year, it was budgeted 332, so it is like, we were able to cut about 23,000. As you review these were all sent to you. If you have questions, you can reach out to me at any time. I know I'm somewhat disturbed, but budgeting is probably one of my favorite topics, so any questions you ever have or ideas, I'm happy to look into things or get information for you or whatever you need as board members.
How much we given for, play?
Okay, so if you go back up there, it actually, there's 15, so about 25 is budgeted, and we bring back 20. So I would say overall, the district contributes $3,000 or $4,000. And I can, if anybody wants to see, I do have the paperwork printed of the profits each year. So like Dr. Bendo explained, like the district prior year gave around 23,000, and we've always gotten back, I want to say around 18, 19, 20.
But that doesn't cover the stipends, right? For the people putting the play on.
No, that does not cover the stipends.
So we're really about $40,000 play. When you add up all the stipends?
I can do that math for you, I have no idea off the top of my head.
And I did not create those numbers.
Well, no, every year we bring those questions up about the stipend. I didn't know we actually put money in the budget for it.
Yeah, I mean, most of that money is recouped. I know, I will speak on its behalf, there are a lot of kids
But
involved.
it's recouped, but it's not recouped currently. What I wanna do is eventually, like what I talked about, is recoup it to make them self-sustaining. Currently, you're putting that same amount in every year, and then that money that is made is going into the general fund. I would just like to reverse that, or not reverse it, but make them self-sustaining, and make them a little bit more of, hey, we could buy a $10,000 set or a $12,000 set, maybe we gotta buy the $10,000 set. So, if anybody's opposed to that, I don't need to do that either, I just think it's a better model. But you're right, probably about the stipends, and I can get that calculated out for you.
I look at what's on the board, 15 to 10, that's a sport athletic team that we would have basically the same cost for the coaches. So I don't have a problem if that's the stipends that add up.
On top of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna do it for free, not when you pay them every year.
Well, if you're gonna equate it to a sport, I mean, that's your officials and like for football, you change.
About 25 grand.
Yeah.
Coach is about 19 for
Yeah,
first
yeah.
sport.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying your coaches a salary,
Yeah.
and then you're paying for whatever equipment you need for that sport. Same with, I guess you could compare it to these.
On your budget, you had AP, 2 or higher, where you've saved 5,000 or whatever on that, didn't we?
So we did
So-
reduce the price based on prior spending, but I think that's a discussion.
So I'd like to talk about that, I'm glad you brought that up. So I have a sheet in front of me, and again, this is just food for thought. So currently, the district pays for AP, the AP test, if you get a 2 or higher. So it ranges from a 0 to a 5. 5, 4, maybe some 3s are accepted at the university level, mostly 4s and 5s. We pay for kids if they score a 2 or higher. A 2 is not being accepted at most universities. I can send this out to you as well. It's a breakdown of every one of our AP classes and where we sit. And I'll tell you, we're heavy-ended on the 1, 2 level, and we're paying for 2 or above. I think if we moved that to 3 or above, Liz, we did that math, do you remember? I think that's 16. I think there was another, is it $4,000 we figured?
Very
That
easily.
could cut out of there if you wanted to move from paying for 3 and above. If you want to keep it at 2, there's 2 ways to look at this. At some point, maybe the district was paying for this because kids weren't taking the AP class, test, and we wanted to encourage kids to take it. I don't know the history here, but it's food for thought.
We used to pay for everything.
Okay, so
And that was,
regardless.
and then we had obviously a large increase in AP. And that started even before I was at the high school the first time. And then we started to see not as many 3s, 4s, and 5s. So we made that switch back to a 2 or better. And that was, we kind of jumped through some hoops just to get that. And our enrollment did come down. I have no idea where we're at right now enrollment-wise AP. But it was always, AP was always a push here, and that was something we want those students to take that test. Because some places you take AP, but you didn't have to take the test either. So that's kind of the real quick backstory on that.
And AP, I want kids taking AP classes, so don't take me wrong here. I want to offer more AP if we can. In today's world, AP is competed against dual enrollment. So a lot of times kids will say, well, I can pay for the dual enrollment class and I can get the college credit and then I don't have to take the AP exam. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this. I just want you to have the information of what those numbers mean, and currently what we're spending is 2 or above.
What would it look like to scale it, the better you score, the more we reimburse?
Well, we're paying the whole thing at 2 or above.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, if you score 2, you don't get the full. You gotta score 5.
What is the exam? Is it?
And we don't have to break that down now, I just.
So I mean,
It's like $100 if they pay it out of pocket.
if they get a 0 or 1, we're paying $100. If they're getting a 2 or above, we're paying $100.
I think still pay up front. I think that's how it was. And pay up front, and then we were supposed to be in person.
Yeah.
I know that was the big, where was the money and who has the money and where you get the money, that was a big.
So there's 2 ways to look at it. I just want you to have the information. If you want to move it to a 3, or you want to do a scaled, or you want to leave it alone, it doesn't matter to me. I just want you to have the information.
It's just good to know when we start cutting the budget, where we can cut.
How many kids are taking AP about?
So many classes.
Well, I only have what's in front of me is the test. Why don't we get
Yeah,
that
I
sent
just,
out?
I thought, yeah, that's interesting.
Some of our APs
Yeah.
have 15 kids or 20 kids, and I think some of them have a lot less than this.
So they're at least scoring 2
And I
tests.
know like our stone, the capstone, that, since they shifted that down, like this year we have 5 doing the project, the big project. Next year there's gonna be 11. So I think the numbers are going up.
Any questions for the high school?
The PMEA events, is that offered, what grades is that offered to? Is that 7 through 12? Those
I
events?
don't know about middle school. I believe,
Yeah, there you are.
Not 7 through 12?
That's about right.
yeah, I'm not sure. I can't speak for
We'll
middle
find that out.
school,
We
but
let Dave leave early, so.
Yeah, high school can go
Or do
Yeah.
either,
Yeah.
you guys have?
So I will say,
What was the question?
Middle school PMEA,
Yes.
Yeah, I know that is in fairness.
Are they their own events or are they combined events?
They're,
When junior high goes, they go with the high school?
I believe they're their own, I don't know.
no, they are separate, because we get requests for, to use our facilities for different things. So there's different levels of competitions, and unfortunately, the higher the kids get, they are housed in places like Kalahari, where your entrance into the PMEA is also tied to, a stay at the Kalahari. And it seems like these organizations keep driving prices up. It's, same with FBLA,
Their
they're,
band and course participate in it.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. I don't know what our order was. Steve, you want to go next?
Sure.
I'm messing it up back there. I thought I had an order.
What do we got? Technology, athletics, junior, critical.
So for the technology budget, we had a reduction in the software and hardware. It's not really a reduction, it went to Liz. So 104,000 went in from software and hardware. And that was more kind of just some education software that it didn't really, there was some in her budget, some in my budget, so we just put it all in hers. The big jump for new equipment, we're kind of up against 2 one-time purchases that were due for upgrade at this point. Our teacher laptops haven't been replaced since 2020, so we're coming up on 6 years where this will be the end of their 6th year. You hope to get 5. A lot of battery issues and performance issues with them. So that's the increase there. And the second increase is for our wireless network. That was put in 2015. So back in 2015, the Wi-Fi needs were substantially different. You hope to get 7 or 8 years out of that. We're way past end of life. That is an E-rate, I think I looked at it. That is an E-rate project, so we would only be on the hook for 15%. So that's kind of a positive.
So
The
does
other
everybody
accounts-
know what that is? So this is important, E-rate, every 5 years, as long as it gets renewed, there's a pocket of money that comes out, for infrastructure, is that a fair word? Upgrades. Only certain things apply, you can't buy computers with it, you can buy, what are these things called?
Access points.
Access points, you can do things like that. Our rate of that $500,000, we get we can spend all 500,000, you should, because you spend 15 cents to the dollar on that 500,000. So you can replace cables, access points at 15% the cost. So that is filled into this to replace all the APs in the district.
Yep.
Which are needed. It's not something we're just doing because we want to do it, so.
It's kind of like your, router modem at home. If you had it in 2015, we're probably replaced it since then. The other accounts you see mostly flat. We did drop our communications. We were able to negotiate a lower internet price with Verizon. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
So Steve's budget went up a lot, so I don't wanna pretend here, if we count that $104,000 that went into Liz's budget, his budget would've went from $835 to $1,045,000. So I wanna make sure everybody understands that. I think one of the costs that are driving here is, and help me here because I'm speaking a little above my head, but anything with memory, so computers, the cost of that stuff is increasing. And my understanding is that the data centers, not just local, are sucking up the materials needed for the memory.
Yeah, basically the
which is gonna
manufacturers,
drive up the cost.
they stopped making consumer grade RAM, like in a laptop. So they switched over, so the RAM they're making is for a data center, just a different stick. So there's a shortage, which drives up costs. Not really an end in sight for that, unfortunately.
Anybody have a question real fast? All right, Bo, you wanna go next?
A lot of my,
So this is different than what was sent out to you, so we organized this, I should say Rachel spent a lot of time today organizing this. Through that process, we did find a couple things that, numbers were not correct, so the number is slightly different, it's not dramatic, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. Hopefully this is better for you, and if you like this kind of format, what I'd like to get to is a very similar format next year that all the building budgets and departments are presenting something very similar, so, sorry.
we have a formula for coaching, for head coach, varsity, for junior high head coaches, and then all assistant coaches. There's an increase, what we did, we think we did it when Mr. Krupp was here, we went out and took to our fellow districts, took from District 4, District 11, and we came up with a formula, and I think it's in a 15-year period. We have a starting salary, and then we divided starting salary towards the max end salary, and the difference, divided it by 15 years that they would coach, and that's the increments they go. So that's where you see each coach from this year to next year. Now, a few of them is because we've had some high-paid coaches leave last year, so some of them might go down, up or down. So that's our formula for coaches. Most of these coaches.
most of that was head coach, assistant coach.
Head coach, junior high head coach, and head coach, and then the assistant coach are all in there. And there's some things we're doing with their salaries. That's what shows what they make this current year, and then what they're gonna make next year with the increase. And it goes by the years that they coach and the increments. Like we said, divided into a 15-year. Then we get into all the announcer, the scorekeepers, I guess all the ones that need to run the game, all the officials, the timers, all sort of that's all been pretty much the same. Ever since I've been here, we've added just a few. Pretty much the same. Fees are PIAA fees that we pay, or Wyoming Valley Conference fees that we pay for each sport. Go up a little bit every year, you know, $25 here. We've added girls wrestling, we've added unified bocce in this past year.
$1 for Heller's gas, is that an actual?
Well, so what they do for us it's at the, I think it's
That's
at the
the
band.
same thing.
Yeah, it's at the band. What they do is they just charge us $1, but they keep refilling them for nothing. And I think they do it at our junior stand at the football field and at the band stand. They just keep refilling them for nothing. They don't charge us, but they charge us $1. Just so fair play. I don't know. That's always been there. So we're not going to complain about that one, I guess.
No, it just looks weird when you just see it there.
It looks like a place game.
Wish we had more ones.
Yeah. Next is all, you know, the officials for all the games, all the sports, junior high through varsity. You'll see go there, scorekeepers, all each sport. There's much going down the bridge. We'll get to the things that I've added. The supplies have been the same since we've been here. Back in 2020, I think Mr. Brookard, we took like $90,000 from the athletic department. They took 10 coaches and they went down in supplies. They've been the same since I've been here for 7 years, so that's been across the board. Now we've added, like I said, we've added girls wrestling. We had to add to their supplies, to their like their tournament entry fees, unified bocce. That's about all that we've added there. I've introduced and added, we've never had anything on facilities or scoreboards, or it was whenever something broke down, we just found money to do it. So we started, now have a contract with all our scoreboards. This year, for next year, we're putting in, is why mine went up, is the pool. The pool's is in a big need. All the touch pads are about $1,300 to $1,500. They're all getting up to, they're on their 10th year. They're all bad. We need all new touch pads. The line going in is bad. She needs a new timer. It's called
You don't have all that built in though.
It's sort on the pool. I don't have it in. I have the service I added the service contract.
Right, but if we were gonna replace all those touch
Well,
pads, it would be additional cost.
That's from all the advertising money. We're using some of the advertising money. What they did, Christine, from last year.
I just wanted to make sure everybody understood.
Yeah,
it
no,
wasn't
I'm not
budgeted.
adding, I'm taking it out of that, but I'm saying there was no, when I came here, there was nothing for facility use. I mean, when something broke, you just had to fix it, so I went out and got a scoreboard. You know,
Time clock has some issues over there as well, correct? The pool.
no, it was all because of the wire.
Okay.
Now, there's two things that the boards click into. The one's bad, that's $1,000. The touch pads are bad. The Colorado, like, it's been 10 years, and she keeps two of the things inside, but all from the rust from the pool, and everybody knows the Dectrin system, things rust out over there. So it's about that time, it's about the 9-10 year where we're gonna have to replace it. But I, with the advertising money. However, I did add, like I said, unified bocce was a sport we added. We added supplies for them, ones for their coaching. I think we added a huddle, is a camera system that we have down at the football field and we have in our varsity gym. And there is now a portable one for $1,500 that I can now bring out for field hockey and the sports up here at the Senator John Gordon. And then in the winter times and in the spring, we can bring down to baseball and softball field and splits that's on a tripod, so we can move that. So now every sport could be on, huddle, because we pay for the whole, whole sporting. I think anything's. I think that's about all that we've added. There's a little bit of increase, but most of that, a lot of that's from the coaching increases from year to year.
I think that 15,000, I think 14,000 and change was from the supplies that Bo just talked about, and I think there was like 1,500 in for the pool. Which makes it 15. Questions on athletics?
If you scroll back down to where it says all supplies, what's the category, and how do you know what, right there?
So,
How do you know what it's-
we live by account codes, and if I put account codes up there, you wouldn't even know what they are, they're numbers this long.
So do you know
So,
what they are?
So each one of those supply lines belongs to a sport?
Yes.
Fair to say?
Yeah.
What we could do probably in the future is be more specific on that explanation. instead of just
On the end of the
supplies.
account code, it'll have like swim or foot or base, whatever.
I told Donovan to put the account codes on the presentation, because nobody knew what the heck they were.
They've been the same since, actually, they cut them in 2020. He cut down the supplies, and they've been the same since we've never raised them.
The original one you sent us, it had new uniforms for a couple different teams. Is that what the 10-5's for, the 13-5? Are they uniform prices possibly, or?
It could be, because what they do is that, so in like you said, different numbers are for different things. 390 is for their dues, 610 is their supplies. So when, say, I have a rotation in uniforms every 5 years, so say baseball's coming up. So what they'll do is they'll put, say if it's $5,000 for uniforms, they'll put 5,000 on the baseball one, they'll add it on to their supplies. And then they'll add it on to each sport that goes.
Yeah, and the original one
Yeah.
that came out, you actually had
Right.
broke down.
We
Well,
did,
can
we
I
added.
just
That's
break
what it
that
might
down?
do.
Yeah, we added
Before I
the
send
ones.
that out tomorrow, we can break that down, so that makes more sense, so it just says more than just.
Yeah, and that's the ones that'll be for that next year,
Yeah.
that are getting uniforms, and then it'll go down back to the original.
I've been wanting to bring this up, and I think this is the perfect time for it. Our rifle team. I'm going to assume that the dream that we had 4 years ago, that we're gonna build an indoor facility and all that has died and settled down. So I'd like to get back to talking about, is there heat over where they're shooting?
And then the same 30 seconds.
No, I don't read 30 seconds. I've
I
read
did.
30 seconds.
Somebody did
I haven't
read
read
that
30
one.
seconds in a year and a half.
It's not very appealing. though.
But
It's not.
seriously, I know we had this we had this conversation about 3 years ago. We're looking at indoor facility down there, and we had all these big dreams, which I didn't think it was ever gonna happen. But we still have kids over there. It's one of our best sports. They do great, and all they've been asking for is heat.
Yeah.
Well, the indoor has it.
Is
If
it?
you go in there with the handgun,
I haven't been in there in a while.
I was in there about a month ago.
I don't think they
have heat. They have a big unit right on the walls. If you're standing outside, not outside,
Right.
but, you know, in the lanes, the heat unit's right there.
Yeah.
But when you get inside, if you're shooting from the inside,
And they lay on concrete.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's pretty.
Now,
Now,
building shootout.
No, I don't think they do. I don't know how they're doing
No,
it unless everything's outside, right?
shoot,
Yeah, I
these
thought they
doors
were-
up, these doors open up, there's 3 ports that they shoot. There's people that sit behind them that are scores with the scope. And then these doors open up and they shoot, and I think it's inside, but I don't know if I don't think that's heated, the inside,
It's indoor,
surrounded.
and there's like an area you go in, and the doors open into the range.
Right.
That area is heated.
But not the
Down range is not heated because it's kept closed off most of the time with plywood doors, and they open them.
When you
just
open
when
those
shoot.
doors to shoot.
So it's
all
drafty.
exposed.
Where
I'm
is
gonna have
that?
to take a road trip.
That's right
I haven't
above,
been
you
up
know
there.
where Pollock's, the pizza.
I haven't been there. I haven't been in
there.
there myself in a
If
few
you,
years to see
when,
what it's really
when
like.
you're going there, right
Yeah,
before you
I
get to
wanna see
Pollock's,
that.
there's another road that goes up to like a cemetery in the back.
I'm not part of
You
it.
go up to that road, you drive right.
They've
into it.
been great
Pictures are up
partners.
on the walls, it's really nice.
They really have been
Because
great
I know we're a
partners.
private club, so we gotta be careful of what we can and can't.
Right, but Keith, we've been saying that now for the whole time when it first originated. So we've been saying we need to be careful for 15, 20 years. It's now time to say we need to figure out what we're going to do.
Well, I mean, figure it out, but
We've
we gotta
given,
do it the right way.
we've had probably and I'm gonna say we, because I was a high school principal, so I'm not pointing fingers at anyone that didn't start with this board or any of you here. We've been saying to Kathy, we're gonna take care of that. We have a plan, and then we would come out with this great, this great plan of a $500,000 plan, which was never going to happen. We never had the money, and it would be a conversation here, and it would appease her for a couple of years. She's been working out of her van, from what that's what she was doing for years.
She locks the guns at her house. They don't have a safe over there.
Like, we need to,
That's not
I
our-
understand it's a private thing, but if we're going to keep with the private thing, and they've been great partners for us, I think it's time to start looking seriously, how are we gonna fix that? I'd rather roll the dice on them, that they're not gonna throw us out after we help them, than try to have some grand scheme that we're gonna shoot in the basement of some building or something.
I agree.
That's just, I want to throw, and that's all I want to say tonight. I've been thinking about it, and this is the perfect time to at least throw it out.
Now, there's some people that shoot in gyms,
No, we're not gonna shoot in the gym.
No, when I'm talking about, it's.
I know that, but Bo, and I don't want to be a jerk. We had all these silly conversations for years. We're not shooting in a gym, we're not building a big complex at Crispin Field. We're not gonna open up Nescapic and shoot in the basement. We've gone through all of those silly things, we're not doing them. It's not gonna happen. We're not buying laser guns, we had that conversation too. We just shoot with lasers. It's time to come up with a real plan. And not tonight, but it's on the table.
So here's what I'll say, why don't I haven't been up there, so
I haven't
we'll
been-
go
I'll
up
go
there
with
and
you.
see
Love
it,
to go.
maybe if you wanna go.
Yeah, definitely.
Go,
Yep.
anybody else wants to go, happy to go up and see it, and then we can have a better conversation.
Need to go and see it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Thank
Last-
you.
okay.
I have a non-rifle related question. It might be a rifle related question, I don't know. What sport is the 30-second timer? Is there a 30-second clock time?
Is that for the future basketball?
30-second clock operator, what sport?
Oh,
Is it-
he's probably talking about basketball, how that comes into play. Is
The
that
shot
next year?
clock comes in 2 years. The shot clock for basketball, you're gonna have to pay someone.
So it doesn't currently exist.
Doesn't.
So that's a position we don't have? We don't use that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's in last year's budget.
You might be talking about the football.
Maybe you're talking
Football,
Maybe you're
30
talking-
second. You're talking about the football. right?
Oh, no,
idea.
football, the 25, 40-second clock.
Yeah.
There's a guy that operates that. You
30-second
know, to
clock
play,
operator, it's the top of the page, I think.
yeah, it's the one 25, 40-second. That's the football. You know the clock's on the ends of the, you either have 25 seconds or a 40-second of,
So it's a play clock.
It's a play clock.
for the football. But no, there will be added in 2 years for we also have.
So for that's not in here.
I
That's not
misspoke,
in
I
the
was
last
thinking
one.
that
Yeah, I
basketball
was
is next
thinking
year,
I-
so.
Somewhere up above, there was athletic field advertising, 20,000. Is that income?
That's from, so Christina, like we were saying.
It doesn't delineate, it looks like it's a cost.
So it
Right.
will come in on the revenue side as well.
Yeah, so what-
But you gotta book it on this side because you're saying you're gonna spend that 20,000 of
Like,
that revenue.
Yeah, so that money every year in Crispin, all the signs down there, it equals to like 25,000, she gave me 20 of that. But that goes towards the pads in the pool, this year we bought a thing for the tennis courts, they put fencing on the football field. Right, Brent, is that 5 or 10?
I'm hoping you guys are part of that.
On top of the football field, took the plywood off that we used to have to replace.
Yeah, I paid for that, though, that didn't come out of
I came out of mine.
I don't remember that.
A lot of it,
About what's
$5.
about
PA
only
more
for
out of my
I'm
account.
using some of that for the.
It might, maybe something else.
I was under the impression you guys had that conversation like last year or whatever that was.
I don't know, what is it, I don't remember that.
JV and varsity transportation, is that all sports combined?
That's all combined, yeah. All, they, with, I think when, who was here, one of the, business, I think Renee put it all in one, 85, 90,000, because we used to have to do at the end, because some sport would run out of it and we'd have to do a transfer. And they hated to do the business transfer, they hated transfer.
Yeah, I could not.
And the same thing. So we'd have to do that, so she just put it in one thing, so then some don't use all, some use more than, more than that, we go into the things, so we just kind of, just easier to do.
And perfect timing, I think you checked with football boosters, correct?
And they'll pay.
And they're willing to cover the additional cost of the charter buses.
Right.
So you know, any booster, I think we would support if they wanted to do that for any of the sports. So,
Question, Bo, you're talking about advertising here, because pretty much the majority of the advertising, if not all of it, is at Crisbin Field. Have you looked at putting, selling advertising at other facilities? Like,
We've
even
talked,
like hang banners up in the pool, gym,
we've talked, and we can do that, and like I said, it can go into
athletics, you know, whatever to help.
Because all that
offset
money,
Some of these costs, athletic facilities, because obviously we have major needs in our athletic facilities.
I think
Well, all
you'd have
that
to
money-
give like a decreased cost to go at some of the other, facilities, just because of the sheer numbers of people.
Correct, but I mean, it's,
Yeah,
it's.
you could
it's-
still, we could absolutely do it.
we could do it
It's on
here.
the band trailer too.
All our gyms, Lehigh Valley,
Oh,
have big
so
banners
we
over
got
there. Health Network, so they're paying for,
If
They
we
pay
could
for
get
a
a
lot.
couple
Guy
extra
Senior
grants,
gives
a
us
couple
2
extra
free,
grants,
that's all
well,
they give us.
well,
I wish they gave us. I wish we tried, that's how we got the free ones from the Guy Senior, because I said I was talking to Lehigh Valley up in Hazelton, but they wouldn't come down because they didn't have enough of our support, the kids going up
yeah.
into Lehigh Valley. So that's when I sparked that, that's when they said, we'll give you, 2 free trainers, so that's strict advertising. We used to pay 40-some thousand for 1 trainer, so they give us 2.
I don't wanna talk about trainers.
I know.
I won't jinx it. I'll tell you later.
But Keith, that's not a bad idea, that all that money from Crisbin goes to all the facilities, that's what I'm using for the pool.
yeah, because I mean, plus, we would have softball, baseball, you could use, defense, I mean, look at the major league stadiums, I mean, they're lined with advertising now.
Yeah, we could do
So,
advertise.
I had Rachel write that down. I'm gonna look at what we currently do. Maybe we can come up with something and bring it back to you.
I mean, like you said, it's not gonna be the same money we're
Right.
generating at Crisbin because of the audience numbers, but
Right.
every little bit helps.
Yeah, there's a lot, we use this field for a lot up here with these.
Anything else on athletics? All right, Liz, you're up, I think.
I think the long story short is my budget looks enormous because we had approximately $185,985 that shifted from building budgets and the instructional technology budget into the curriculum budget. The areas that were not impacted by that have very little shifts or changes. The largest amount that I'm proposing as an increase is to purchase a new ELA curricula for the middle school. This is based on a 4-year quote, going with a 4-year contract with whatever we would do in the middle school would keep our K-8 curriculum cycle for ELA on the same year for renewal, so that we're being strategic of when we're going to be purchasing any new materials. If this was a clean budget in the sense of I had already moved everything into my budget, we would have a cost savings of $30,556 already from consolidating materials under the curriculum budget. We've been doing everything we can to ensure that we're being very strategic about our contracts, that we're not paying for duplicative contracts between buildings, and then also looking at how we can get the best savings by doing district-wide contracts for anything. So you can see at the bottom there, it is a large increase. Part of the increase is from moving all of those cost items into this budget. The $183,143 is an anticipated quote. It is not necessarily the quote. I went with the highest number to put into this budget. There are a number of other things that I would anticipate will go down as well as we continue to contract with some of the instructional technology providers. I'm putting in the higher number here so that we can continue to whittle down. The other piece that will come into this is that I always try to cover as much as I can through grant funding before we would dip into any of our district-wide funds. So this is worst case scenario. I do anticipate that we should have a higher cost savings in some of these areas, but the ELA curricula is a big ticket item.
So I just wanna, I know she said it and I know everybody heard it, But if we wouldn't have moved stuff from the building budgets into her budget, which is just taking it from here and moving it there, we would have decreased without, take out the new curriculum, we would have decreased by 30,000 in this budget.
Yes.
The new curriculum makes up about 185,000?
Yeah, about 185.
What is their tuition reimbursement?
Oh, so tuition reimbursement for our function 2060, that's only for our teacher tuition reimbursement. The other piece would be for our staff development, which is about the 40,000, which is for the Act 93. And that's based on what we've spent historically. We haven't gone up. We actually haven't hit the 35,000 for the tuition reimbursement, but we do have that in there based on the number of staff we have. I did mine opposite. Red is an increase. You have any questions?
Good with curriculum?
All right, see, told ya. You could have kept that 3-minute timer up
I
for me.
think our last one is Brent, right? Get everybody? I don't want to leave anybody out. I know you guys are really excited.
I've been checking him off, he's the last, say the best for last, right,
I like that. I'll just run through a couple things. The budget has gone up from last year. Now I want to say one thing, and I know Dr. Bendel will touch on it. 168,000 of it is insurance. So related to.
It doesn't mean the insurance went up. What it is you didn't budget for it. So what I found out through going through this is that the district did not, the number he just said was for workman's comp, and there was not, it wasn't budgeted in at all, and I'll show you when we get to it.
So my budget would have been 15 pages if I had went line by line. So in talking with Dr. Bendel, he wanted it condensed down to a few pages. I do have a cheat sheet with me. If you end up asking me, well, you know, what's in this for, I can look up the account code and tell you kind of what else is in there. You'll see some things went down, some things went up. Dr. Bendel wanted real numbers, and I could respect that. So I called all the contractors, and I said, what's it gonna be for next year? I brought that.
Brent called it, as being modest, I told him to call and ask for a reduction. So we're in the process of fighting with every vendor to try to get a reduction in every line.
So they did provide me with what it would be for next year, minus not counting the reduction yet, still working on that, but, and so I brought those papers when I would talk with Dr. Bendel and Christina regarding the budget, and some of it looks like it has gone down, some of it has gone up. There are some things that were budgeted, like one column might be $3,500, but we really only spent $2,000. So in getting the real numbers for different things, we took out of there the fluff that was in there and put an actual number. Go ahead, Doctor.
So this is the item that is not a problem, it's just the district, for whatever reason, budgeted for the Philly insurance. You did not budget for trust, which is your workman's comp, which equates for that difference. What was it, 160 or 160 something?
Yeah.
So I have no explanation for you.
168,917.
That's what the number is.
So what about the one above it?
The one above it, that's cost. What I would.
Those numbers are different than the one I had printed
Yes, it was 406.
here.
Yeah.
Well, those look a lot better.
So that's.
I don't have any question about that.
Some of the areas where they went up, and I'll just give you an example. Dr. Bendel and I, we talked about this. They're, you know, down at West Berwick. West Berwick's not new anymore, and so there are repairs, and they're costly repairs when different things need to be repaired down there. So I needed to add more into the budget, because every year the repairs I was well over. I think they had 8,000 in there for repairs. Well, I was going through that in 3 or 4 months with the new technology that building has. So we upped a lot of those things, and that equates to it being higher than what it was last year, but whenever we have anything left over, we always try to purchase, like we know how we did with the truck. Remember towards the end of the last year, we had money left over, so we bought the new truck with them.
The high school, PPL, that 216 is a realistic number. That 120 is not. We looked at this current year, we looked at the year before, and you're spending much more than 120. I have no explanation for you why you budgeted 120, but it's not a real number.
Is that similar to the sewer, water and sewer numbers? For some
So, where are you at?
up near the top, athletic field house doubles, Nescafe doubles.
Yeah, I guess this,
I don't think
yes,
they were ever
this was a
adjusted.
thought that when you closed it, you would have a lesser cost. We haven't seen that. That's
Yeah,
what
I
we
think that's
discussed.
necessary.
I don't know, he must be over flushing toilets all the time.
What about the
When I
athletic field
called
house?
the Nescafe Borough and asked them now that we're
These are
closed, would they
based
give us a
on what we
reduction?
are
They came
spending.
back a couple days later with
These
no.
are real numbers.
So 22 is based on what we were spending, 11.6 wasn't even close.
I don't know what you did here.
Okay, all right.
What I'm telling you is this is based on looking at previous spend and current spend, and that's a more realistic number.
I'm kind of bored of how we're using 100,000 more in electricity from the middle school to the high school.
3 years ago, we had, our business managers come in, they were gonna redo a rate for us. They're gonna get the lowest, check all the companies, that kind of stuff. They were supposed to save us $100,000, $150,000, but it was gonna cost us $100,000. We've been given more stories on why PPL, what our electric rates are. Nobody's gonna sustain it.
So what I will tell you is every school district, I dealt with it at my previous districts, energy has gone up tremendous in the last 3-4 years. I don't know, I can look into what you were saying there, but those are real numbers. What you had before were.
Well, they told us they could get us a better rate. You know, how you could shop for electric. They said they were gonna do that, but then it was gonna cost us money to get out of our old rate. And then we couldn't get out of the rate now. So that was the last time they talked to us.
I think last month we locked in for 2 years, I'd have to look back, I mean, it was board approved, I think it was like maybe 11 cents per kilowatt.
One thing you
which
have
was
to
at
keep
that.
in mind, Jason, that we talked about is that when I started, you were doing the training project. And you had, little to no HVAC or heat, and now, a lot of the areas at the high school and the middle school that maybe never had air conditioning, now have air conditioning in those specific spaces. And all that, I think, uses more electricity than what it did before you had it in.
That can't be true. Because we had all those conversations with these companies,
Oh, I
with the
don't-
energy saving,
Yeah,
cost
So-
savings we're gonna get from them.
that part I wasn't here for.
One thing that I will tell you, and I'm not gonna be able to speak completely intelligent on this. At one point, you were getting checks for energy savings, and you had told me a little bit about this, they were significant numbers. I don't know, $25,000, $40,000. Those, I'll use the word incentive, I don't know if that's the right word. We've been told that has changed. The checks that we're getting now are minimal. They're $1,000, $2,500. One thing that Brent and I are doing is we are working with Train to try to summer usage, and I haven't been here for really a summer yet, is try to, I guess the district in years past would shut the power off, and then that caused all kinds of problems. So we're not looking to do that, but we are looking to lower our load when we get notice of spike days, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. So we are gonna work with Train. We do have a electronic system in place now that come 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, things get turned way back currently, and then they pop back on at 7 o'clock. So it's all automated. Brent, I had him go through it with his guy, and we went and looked at the whole system. Beyond that, I don't have ideas as far as energy.
BPL's electricity, right? What's UGI utilities?
Down at the very bottom, or towards the very bottom, you'll see where the totals are there. The totals, like I had said, 168,000 of that overage is from the insurance.
And then another close to 100 is the high school electric.
Yes, sir. And then we put down at the bottom, there are some things I've been keeping tabs on that Dr. Bendel wanted and has been keeping some different building needs that are not included.
These are not in the budget, but this is more or less, here are the needs of what we think need to happen in the district as far as items or projects. I'm happy to talk about any of those. I'm not saying we're gonna do those, but over time, what I'd like to do is chip away at these. So I do think you're probably, we put them in kind of highest to lowest order, right?
I don't know, we have
Well,
the one
let me
after it
rephrase
and
that
two.
then.
Yeah,
I think you told me your snow brush machine is probably your thing that you need the most.
I did.
And that caused you some challenges during the snow, right?
Yes, sir.
Because the one you had is in the shop and
Yeah.
you really needed to.
And the township added thousands of more feet of sidewalk for us to clear, so it,
And we take care of the sidewalk up to the church. It's not ours, but we've kind of agreed to do that, because our parents walk that and Salem asked us to do that.
Bo had mentioned some things about the pool with how much different things cost, and you see the main pool pump there, that's for us just to buy the pump, that's us putting it in. The $9,000 for the pump that we're going to have to do here real soon. The middle school electrical panel, Bo had alluded to about the chemicals rusting thing, we have a real problem over there that we have to try to take care of. We're hoping at the end of March, Christina and I can look, and if I have the money, we're gonna try to do that then, if possible.
Up high, it said safety zone flashing.
Beacons? Yeah,
Nescapec, and,
yeah,
what's that cost for? The one that we have already listed up higher than that?
yep, I know where,
Right there.
yep,
So here's what I'll tell you.
that's supplies as well. So it's only 60,000, so the 60,000 for the safety flashing beacons, they're the things that when the
Yeah.
school is in the morning, they open and flash.
But
That-
Nescapec's not in service with
Cor-
kids.
Correct, and we talked about not doing that one if and when we do it. The one on Orange Street needs to be redone, and the one on Fowler needs to be redone.
Now what I'll tell you is that's a, I don't know what word I wanna use here, that's a facetious number there. Because you've had it in the budget for years, and you never replaced those. Now, they are in need of being replaced, those flashing things, and I'm told by Brent, that you can't get parts and this and that, so at some point you're gonna have to replace them. But that money, is used every year. So what I'm telling you is it's $145,000 or $170,000 that you're really budgeted for that, but you're not using it for that, you're using it for other expenses.
Well, then why did we do
Becomes
what?
emergency money somewhere else.
Because why you went up is because you're not, that 125 is not, it's not enough.
Well, put it to 100,000.
Now, realistically, as I'm here longer, I'd like to address these things and say, guys, 170,000 doesn't need to be there. But we bit off a lot through this process so far. Happy to address it now, but that would be dumped probably into supplies versus the line item that currently is.
Not necessarily, Jason, remember I had said the beacons was the 60,000, and what
Yeah.
happens is, we have a forklift that went, and we had to spend 20,000 on a forklift. Wasn't in the budget, we say, well, I guess we're not getting the beacons, we're buying the forklift. Then all of a sudden,
Fair
something else goes, and we need another 20, 30,000, well, it's taken out of the beacon, so it wasn't really for supplies.
So you put off the beacons
We
every
did,
year.
that's a good
There,
word, that's a good word.
Better way of saying it.
That's a
If you
good
put it
word.
off another year, it'll cover 90% of your.
Problem is, we're taking
last
time off
section.
by ways of just getting phone calls, like, yeah, it's not working anymore.
Easily into the
Yeah, I guess
lawnmower.
what I'm telling you is the district historically has used that money for something.
Correct.
Not, I think it's exactly what Brent probably said, like, hey, we'll put this off for another year, we'll put this off for another year. Well, they're getting to a point where you probably can't put them off. I agree with you about Nescapec. We actually are looking into that. Do we have to have one there or not? It's not an operating school. We do have a bus stop there. So we'll find that information out. I also tried to think, why do we have to pay for them? Why doesn't the borough pay for them? But I found out that the school district's responsible.
Yeah, it's probably in borough code, I imagine.
Well,
Anybody have any questions?
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Just so you guys know, I sent you out a timeline for the budget, but what I plan to do is do a presentation at the work session at the March meeting. It will be a lot more informative as far as what goes into the budget and things like that at a district scale. And then by the voting meeting, provide you your first look at the 26, 27 budget. And what I plan to do is give you a 3-year comparison so that you can really look at projected versus projected from this year versus projected from the year before, and then you get the actuals from the year before. So you can really look across and look at a budget that way. You may not like it. If you don't like it, let me know. It's a lot of work to put it together, but I like to give you multiple years of data.
Moving on, do you have anything for academic affairs?
Anything else? No, I think we kept it light because we thought we'd be doing a lot of talking and probably getting you guys to the point where you probably were done with us.
Athletics,
You have,
any updates about?
Mark, are you on there? We all lost Mark. So,
I'm on.
oh, you are here. So Bo has somewhat of an update for you as far as the questions that you asked us to look into last week. Would you prefer if we do that when you're here in person?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we'll just move that.
All right.
Next week or?
We can do it next week, I guess.
Fine.
Well, Bo won't be here next week.
It's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
17th?
But you guys won't be here then, so we'll move it to March.
Now, you do have to do coach interviews 30 days after the season concludes.
Okay, on the building and grounds. There's one item on there for a playground discussion. I know we have some grant money that needs to get spent up very soon, so. Guess we need to come to a quick decision and get something on the agenda for next week.
So I think there's gonna have to be some discussion here, and I think Pam's gonna have to talk a little bit as well. The district has a $10,000 grant, and my understanding of that $10,000 grant is that it's for an inclusive piece, am I using the proper terms? Then you also have some matching funds that are special education funds as well, including a donor that is only willing to donate if it's a special ed piece. Is that correct?
Correct.
If we don't use that grant, that $10,000 goes away, I think, in September? Okay. So I just want to give you some information before you have your discussion on this topic.
Did these qualify for that?
We have, some of them do, some of them don't. On the page I did not copy because it was a ton of things. It does say, through high quality craftsmanship and daring innovation, every product is designed to forge connections between people of all ages and abilities in your community. I did not give you that page, it's just right there. In Brent, Playworld is whatever you buy, 30% on top of that for installation, so that's.
So I don't wanna put you on the spot, Pam, but, yeah, I handed you that sheet, I don't know if
So
these
just at a
things.
brief look, so what we were looking at using, since we only had $10,000 grant funds, we had a fundraiser that was about $2,700, our donor was willing to give us funds, and then using the rest of access funds for adaptive playground equipment. In order for some of the inclusive piece, we were looking at something for our multiple disabilities classroom students that have physical mobility, to be able to utilize some equipment. So we were looking with Play World, because we had limited costs on some musical pieces that students that are in wheelchairs, or have physical needs will be able to go up to. 2 musical pieces cost $13,000, and that does not count for installation, so that will then be covered hopefully through either Buildings Grounds or from special ed. So I'm looking at these pieces, some of our other programs will be able to utilize it, but it would not meet the needs of some of our multiple disabilities classroom students would not be able to use some of these programs.
How much of that beacon money can we use?
Well, here's what I'm
I
telling
do
you.
think what I have for the grant, I know that we have had conversations about a playground, and I would love to get bigger pieces for all of our students to use. Trying to fundraise money, to get more funds. It is, as you see some of the price tags, besides how much it costs, it's also 30% for installation. Besides then where it would get installed, it is hard for us to be able to put some forth money. With some of the installation, we can get for East Berwick and West Berwick 2 musical pieces, which are conservative pieces of chimes and like a xylophone that we can install in both, and I can use the special ed funding because it would come out to $26,000 with the $10,000 match grant, the fundraiser, and our donor who's willing to give about $25,000 to $3,000 to help cover a lot of that cost, and just ask that maybe we can put a plaque in honor of their donation, that we can get 2 pieces for East and 2 pieces for West. I know it's not a big PlayStation for multiple students, but if we wanted to use that funds, that would cost us $26,000, and I do have some special ed funds that I can put forward.
I'd like to see
access
Pam
to
bring us a sheet with the equipment she's talking about, not
Yeah,
just
that'd be
extended playground.
Yeah.
Because if it's for special ed, I'd like to see that, and not consider it.
Yeah, because I have no idea what qualifies for inclusive or not
I
inclusive.
think, I don't wanna speak for you, but I think PTA got, where's that sheet that's in
This
front of them?
this I asked Brent. We had one of these last year when we had our playground meeting, discussion. I don't know, the PTO was here, and then Brent and Playground. But then, there's someone from the PTO back there, so she could speak more from their perspective. But we just need a playground in East Berwick. Regardless, we need a playground.
I don't disagree. So,
How many times do you have to eat lunch out there each year to take it out of the cafeteria?
listen, if I could have done that, I would have already done it. I do have $1,000 for you from Suffolk.
Yeah, they're big talkers.
Most of data centers are big talkers.
Can you get me what,
I can get you the picture, so it is something of, like chimes to music, chimes with students that are in wheelchairs and that have physical needs will be able to wheel up to it, and they can still be able to use it. So when we look at an inclusive piece, some of our students in our autistic support classrooms will be able to use these PlayStations, but we really do not have any equipment for our MDS classroom. We do have 8 students currently at elementary, and our middle school does have 5 students, so we are trying to find something that those students have. There is only an adaptive swing, but because of their medical needs, we can't always transport them from their chair. So we are trying to find an inclusive piece that our students in our MDS room will be able to utilize, and focus on trying to get some pieces for West Berwick, as we have elementary special ed students in both of our buildings. So our donor was able to give us, to match some for here and to give us some funds for West.
I'd like to see that and some nice stuff out
Right,
here.
so that aside, that's a whole separate thing right there, because that has to be all inclusive, but we still need to think of the other, however many kids are here that don't have a playground too.
I agree with you, I got you $1,000.
Can you get me like 50,000 more?
I cannot, but you guys can.
That might not get you there. You're working on it.
Probably won't.
I don't know.
That,
Maybe
you're
100.
way shy.
100,000 probably.
Especially if you have to change the ground for some reason.
And these aren't installed prices, right?
30% extra install.
30% more to install.
But these are free shipping right now till June.
They should be free shipping.
The rest of the book is not free shipping.
It's always coming from Lewisburg, comes from shipping.
This stuff comes from Lewisburg?
Yes, from Playboy.
Out on 192,
Did you guys
right
all
outside
get that?
Lewisburg.
Yeah. If they have it, sometimes they give it other places.
I don't know if you guys wanna have any more discussion about playground or not. What I would like to do, but it's gonna take time and it's gonna take a lot of work on probably the board's part and administrative as well, is I would like to get this district where we're being proactive versus reactive. That's gonna take a lot of time. That as we go through the budget process, you're also gonna hear things out of me like, last year's budget, you ran $68,000 to the good. Great, $57 million budget. That's not much. That's living on an edge. So as we go through the budget process, I would like to talk about potential line items being added for capital reserve. We don't have a capital reserve account now, but I'd like to see that down the road. And I would also like this, like when we go through the process, this can't come off all the time on the taxpayers either. So as we go through the process, I'd like to have some meaningful discussion on how we get there, and it might take us multiple years. And that's not accounting for any new money that comes up over the next handful of years.
Yeah, that would help speed the process up, but you can't guarantee it until we can guarantee it.
And even the ones that starts can't guarantee it continues.
I live very conservatively, and I don't want to, I work to not spend money we don't have, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be counting on the windfall money, spend it, if it doesn't come, then we're in trouble.
Anything else on playground?
I guess give us more information about what Pam has, and we'll circle back next month. Where are building and grounds? I got one issue, it's not on the agenda, but I've gotten emails from, I'd say, solar salesmen, that's been pretty persistent. So, I don't, you know, the sake of openness and transparency is not my decision, I consider it a board decision. So, is anyone interested in exploring this out? You know, obviously we don't have to go with this individual, I mean, we can, you know, is it something the board's interested in pursuing further, or is it one where it's like, we're not interested, we'll call you when we are? What's everyone's opinion on
If
that?
they can offer some sort of guarantee that we're spending less money, I'm not interested.
We had the guy come in at one time, and he talked solar with us, and he said for whatever it cost, we couldn't generate enough to make it worth our while. I don't know if you remember when the guys come in and did that.
And this guy's email basically said if we put solar on top of here, we're still not gonna cover energy costs. Me personally, I got concerns about putting solar on the roof here, because obviously we just see
We have
the
enough
roof
trouble
got
with our roof.
blown up.
It makes roof maintenance a nightmare.
Yeah, so obviously if we have a problem with the roof, now we gotta get the solar panels off to address that issue. That's gonna cost money and time.
I just got an email like that too, and they had the wrong roof and the wrong size and everything. So I don't know who's emailing you, but there are a lot of people going around and.
Yeah, I
having
mean,
the
is it
size
even a
of the
reputable
roofs.
company? I don't, I just know the guy's been persistent, and, you know, I'm like, at this point, you know,
The solar panels in the Northeast have been working real great the last 2 weeks.
What I'll tell you is I've been
How about
through,
that?
I've been through multiple districts looking into solar. Happy to look into it here as well. What these companies come to the table and sell you on savings is with projected increases in energy costs. If you had the increases that you've had the last 3 years, maybe you can be sold on it. But I don't think over a 20 or 25-year period, I don't think anybody can project 25 years of energy costs. So, happy to do whatever the board wants me to do. I've wasted many hours of my life talking to these companies. I'm happy to do it again.
I mean, me personally, I'm not in a hurry to do it my own house, because of those exact issues Dr. Bendel just said, but, you know.
Now, with that said, everybody that I know that put solar panels into a school district, they tell me they're saving all kinds of money. I don't know.
They're saving it on their monthly bill, but they're not saving it in the long run, because they're
Well,
going to pay that off.
large cost up front, or
Yeah, because some of them cost millions, and
Right.
if you finance that, now you got interest on top of it.
Most of the costs are financed and it's offset by restoring the grid, but for a project this size, it's probably not gonna work out that way.
So what I'm gathering is no one's really interested in this time. Won't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah, that's a good answer. We'll be in touch when we're ready.
Works for me. I figure out to offer some transparency, I figure it's not my decision, it's the board decision, and I'm lecture, the board has spoken. Okay, CSIU, Mrs. Phillips is not here, I know she didn't make the last week, I know she said, things come up, so we don't have an update for that. Policy committee.
We didn't get anything from last month, I think, with the cell phone policies and all the building handbooks, we should maybe consider having something to tie them all together.
I know you have those two policies on the agenda for the update
Yeah.
based upon our.
they're very, very minor, that what's on for
Yeah.
first read, they're just simply, language that, about the work session and public comment.
Oh, for those, right, I forgot about those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
just to align with how we're doing.
Those changes were
meetings,
just
so.
based on going from one meeting a month to 2 meetings a month, and if you ever go back to 1 meeting a month, I don't think the changes are gonna impact, you're gonna have to redo them again, it just talks about.
Because
the
it
work
was pretty
session.
well spelled out. On to VOTEC, you're supposed to be here, so I have a little bit here from the last, month of activities. At the workshop, Dr. Bettel and us, we were there, both SREB and Site Logic did a presentation on, about the study. When it was all said and done, Josie felt the Site Logic was by far the best presentation and the cheapest proposal. They were at 30,000, the other one was 45 to 90. So they were pretty, they actually approved on the 20th for 30,000, and that's gonna be led by former Milton Superintendent Dr. Kevin Keegan. Cost is, like we said before, is gonna be allocated based upon the capital percentage allocation, kind of like it was done for the building project. This study was actually proposed by the semi-superintendents, basically before you got here, due to academic and program concerns and ongoing issues down there for many years. I mean, and to be honest with you, there's other things going on down there now too, because it's probably out in the public realm. We had the special ed director is turning in her resignation. She was approved for a new position at Hazelton on the 22nd. We will be conducting, Josie will be conducting a vacancy interview with her as we did with several other employees. The sad part with what that situation has become, we've had community members, some teachers at Alumni Association trying to put a petition out there for the Josie to terminate the director. Once again, I'm gonna state that there is not, no one's ever filed a complaint. Everything we have is hearsay. I mean, if someone's to file a complaint, we need dates, times, witnesses. If that's the case, I think based upon prior history, we're more than willing to hire outside counsel to properly handle it. But in the meantime, it's reckless that we have these people out there saying stuff that there's nothing out there to support. I mean, I'm frustrated, I really am. I mean, if something really happened, file a complaint. I mean, we'll act on it. Again, and especially if this study comes out, I'll again state that, and Ms. Phillips would agree with me on this, as I spoke for earlier, that we feel the comprehensive model is the best model for kids. However, we're not gonna tolerate the abuse that JOC members and other employees have been receiving. They have a 38.8% proficiency in math and 27.1% proficiency, or in English, it's 27.1% proficiency in math. granted, you know, we have a high population of special ed there. I get it, I understand it. We don't expect, you know, major, you know, we don't want that, you know, expect more than what can be actually delivered. We don't want to be the best, but we want to see growth. I mean, we've asked Dr. Shotwell and our teachers make academic improvements to improve our scores. I don't feel it's fair that they're not going to be you know, they should be asked the same. After all, our kids need to come first regardless of whether they attend Berwick or Tech. So, until we have our next meeting, we have a workshop next week, and our actual JOC meeting is scheduled for the same night on the 17th as ours. I talked to Mrs. Phillips, she's planning on going to Tech, I'll stay here. So hopefully there's some more information to come back. But without anything documented, I mean, I don't have anything documented on anybody down there. I haven't seen it in the years I've been down there. I mean, if someone did something, file a complaint. Show us dates, times, witnesses, who did what, who said what. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean it's grounds for termination.
Is there actually complaint forms? Down there?
I don't know if there is or not, but I mean,
How much are we on the hook for the, clinic? We're the sending district, so we have the lion's share of 30.
we'll be the second highest, I believe.
What do you send more than you do?
It goes by capital, real estate value. Danville is higher because they have higher real estate than we do. But we're close second.
You know, because right now, what is it, 5, 6 schools go there?
6, yeah. So it's, the 30 is going to be spread out amongst all 6.
So it will be the same as our percentage of budget share or no?
No,
That'd be 7.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
Our budget share is based on student sent, right?
yes. Capital is by real estate. Like when we did the 16.8 million renovation, that wasn't based upon number of kids, it's based upon the real estate value of the sending districts. Which is reasonably close, but Danville has higher real estate than we do. Will that change when these data centers come in? Hence if they get under tax rolls, I guess. I mean, I've been down there for 8 years, and you see it the same. I mean, we've had 5 directors, we've had 5 principals. Myself and 2 other JOC members are the only JOC members that have been there this long. Ever that has been revolving door JOC members. There's only 1 consistent remaining. And the current director was unanimously approved when the interview process was done. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, if you have this much turnover and there's still issues, who's the true issue? I said, you know, if someone, write a piece of paper, someone, if it happened.
Well, I've sent them to people making allegations. I've sent them to you. Did Facebook post last week?
Yeah,
I have
that's
them still here.
Yeah, that's from that, that server, that petition that's out there.
Was it petition or was it right from the Facebook page?
Yeah, it was from the petition, yeah.
I was getting people, I was talking to Keith, and people were actually sending me stuff, and I was trying to forward them to you as I was getting them.
Like I said, so-and-so quit because they, you know, because of interactions or something. Well, did so-and-so file a complaint?
I'm sure the policy, I'm sure they have policy that outlines how a complaint is supposed to be.
Yeah, see, I don't even know.
Yeah, we have a complaint policy. But I mean, if someone gives us a valid complaint, says,
I
you
don't
know,
know the
hey, on this
policy, I'm
date,
just
so-and-so
assuming they
did
do.
something to somebody, and it's a valid, I mean, we've had outside counsel look into this stuff before.
Would it just be a grievance, like?
They were filing them like left and right, and what's, I mean, I can't say publicly what they're about, but they're not in regards to the director or the principal in their capacity. Most of it's nitpicking stuff, and we've won those grievances when they've gone, you know, to the state. I mean, if they're legitimate, you know, hey. But I mean, when you have this performance, we're asking Dr. Shotwell and our teachers, to improve our academic performance, you wanna be treated like ascending districts, well, you need to work on it too. I mean, some stuff may work, some stuff might not work. But at the end of the day, it's like, you gotta make the effort, not send out pie charts to try to, to defend the undefendable. I mean, that's where I'm at this point. It's like, I'd say 8 years is enough for the abuse. On that note, we're on to the agenda for February the 17th. I'll get a chance to review it. I have any questions, concerns?
Somebody gotta have a question, I at least get to talk a little bit.
And whatever you don't ask tonight, you can ask on the 17th also.
If you have any questions, you
Bring up
reach out.
life touch, that's always a fun conversation. Life touch is always a fun conversation.
Well, I haven't had that one here yet.
Are we sure?
What are we gonna do with the tennis courts and Said State?
So, board approved to have a design done. Once that design's done, the board will need to determine,
I'll talk about this season.
well, what do you wanna do?
We got, Fred, can we fill those cracks to make it safe?
Right.
Like, as in have somebody fill them with an epoxy, or us try to fill
I
them?
have no idea how we fixed them in the past.
No, because they're so bad. So, but some of the, we could fill some of the bigger ones with some epoxy to get through the season. It's possible.
Rather than send kids out to an unsafe course.
It'd be just a Band-Aid, yeah.
If you choose to move forward with redoing them, I'm hopeful that we can have them done prior to that. I don't know. Season starts, practice starts mid-August.
None of the boys.
Oh, yeah,
Boys
boys
are
before
before
that,
that.
right, yeah. You're not gonna have them done before then.
Yeah, because that's the spring, I thought the boys
Spring
were
starts
spring.
March 3rd, March 2nd or 3rd.
That's why I'm bringing it up now.
I mean, ideally,
You
we
played
get
on
it
them for
in
the
place
girls.
for fall.
We can go down that path too. I just,
I didn't know if we had to make a decision whether to go to Central, try to go in another district. Or if,
I can make those calls. The challenging part's gonna be practice. Because you're gonna practice and you don't,
If we put a banding
I don't
on it,
know, I don't
just to get
know
us
who you're
through the
gonna have to
season.
share courts with for practice time. You could play all your matches away, not ideal, but practice is gonna be the challenge.
Yeah, since that point, we're probably, transportation probably. I
Sure.
don't know where you're.
Well, I think, none of us here are professionals on what safety is on the
I agree.
court. We've said they may not be safe, but is there someone that could actually look at them and give us a professional, would that be an insurance provider or
Well, that's what
something
I
along
would
that
say,
line?
maybe you could have your insurance provider here.
We can all have our own opinions on what safety is.
Well, actually, the firm we hired to do the architectural work for there, if I'm not mistaken, aren't they the one that's looking at the pickleball courts in Bloom? So obviously, they should be able to give us a guide whether what's safe on them or not.
You're going down a,
I'm thinking out
path
loud
that I
here.
don't know who's going to tell you, are they safe or they not safe? They are absolutely cracks that kids could trip over and things like that. You played on them during the girls' season. I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. But
When it hit the papers, I figured we better ask, or I better at least ask what the decision's been.
All right, so let's go full circle here. What are you guys asking me to do? Do you want me to call their school districts? Do you want me to get an insurance person here? I don't want to leave this conversation with not understanding exactly what you want me to do.
I think we look at what the possibilities of filling the cracks in there are.
I thought we filled them in the past.
It's
Because
been, I
they've
can't
been
answer
complaining
that.
about that field, that tennis court for years and years, and I thought that we filled them in the past.
Not since I've been here. You might have resurfaced some areas, 4 or 5 years ago.
I would like, I think.
All right, so you want me to
See if it can be sealed somehow.
find out if we could do something with sealing the cracks? I would assume that you're not gonna be able to do that until temperatures change.
No, gotta be above freezing.
Yeah, you're not gonna do that until March either.
Is there anything else you guys want me to do on this topic? Or is that
If
where
the
you want me
ice
to start?
melts and snow, are they allowed, people allowed to go on them? Or should they be, are they locked?
No, public uses them.
Sounds like it's dangerous to play tennis
Happy to do whatever you guys want me to
I'd
do.
like to see if they can be patched first before we chase any more animals here.
Well,
About
we brought it up.
Oh, I
$50,000.
think
We do this all the
I
time, we
agree
bring
with
it
you.
up and then we drop it.
Right, and then,
Listen.
and we've said enough that if someone would be hurt,
It was in the paper.
right, it would be very easy for them to,
Yeah.
you knew it was,
You're welcome to shut the courts down too.
I'm not ready to go there.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to go
It's
there.
$50,000 to patch what's there, to have somebody come in. I called them, I don't know, 8 months ago, maybe, because we had been talking about it. This is prior to Dr. Bendel starting. So to get somebody to come in and give you like a year warranty to do something there, it's around $50,000.
10% of the cost. Really more.
You know, be looking for warranty, I looking more for like stone full hydraulic cement, you can't fit in.
I've been very involved on this. Probably 20 years I've been on those courts. I have no idea what they look like. I just know that what's been said.
How about us as a board, individually, tomorrow, or whatever, just showing it, but take a walk.
I'd like to.
Then we'll know.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait
Still
till
have
it's
tomatoes.
still.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna take you out there
I
once
went
the
and looked
snow
at them when we
melts.
started talking
They look
about
great
it.
right now.
Yeah, there's no cracks right now.
They looked
Whatever
exactly
now.
So that
like,
you can see.
they looked exactly like Dr. Bennett said.
Kind of like the roads, you don't see the potholes either.
Why don't I find out, which we sound like we maybe already, why don't we look at that, Brett and I will talk about, is there a way to fill the cracks for the boys season? When the snow melts, why don't we schedule a time, or I don't know if you wanna do it individually, I'll maybe do whatever you guys want me to do, happy to take you over there. You want me to hit some serves, yeah, I can do that too.
Probably miss it.
Any other questions on the agenda?
Any, board member comments? Superintendent?
I got two. I want to thank LSU for coming and doing our Run, Hide, Fight training on Friday. It's a free training. Liz is in the process of getting feedback from all the staff, but from people that came up to me, they thought it was a very good training. I've been through it, I've had them in multiple districts. I think they do an excellent job. They come in for free. So I would encourage other school districts, and I'll talk at the superintendent's table. There's no reason to not bring them in, and they're willing to come. So just a special thanks to them. And then secondly, I heard this week, initially it was, we were awarded conditional approval. Check today, we have been fully awarded $153,000 and change for, towards metal detectors. So, probably what I'll do is next month be bringing proposals to you. One thing I will tell you is I've talked to, I think, 4 or so different vendors. All of them have reached out to me and told me that the old, this is how luck is, but there's apparently a new model and that new model is $4,500 or something like that, more than the old models, I'm gonna be reaching out tomorrow to see how many old models are left.
At a discounted price.
Well, good luck.
Clearance.
But I would rather get the old ones versus the new ones, because I don't think they do $4,500 worth of benefits that we need. So, but we just got awarded that this week. I think it's great, $153,000.
I
That's
also
it.
got good feedback on the training too, so it's, right.
So will those metal detectors, they won't be able to be put on the agenda for the 17th?
Maybe, if you want to. If we want any chance of getting the old, I think maybe yes. Jeff, maybe I can reach out to you, because there's so much in those quotes of different things. At least maybe you can give me an idea of.
What's needed?
Yeah.
You use them every day, about your opinion on that.
They, every single one of them has said there's a required training. I don't know if that's accurate. Everybody will tell me that, but they won't sell them to you if you don't take it, is what I've been told.
But you only need that one training,
Right.
one you can buy 8.
It's not free.
Yeah, and then you can do your own training based on it.
And that training most likely is to relieve them of liability.
Yeah.
Correct.
But Ken, we know guys already pretty well trained in it anyway, right, Jeff?
I've done it a few times.
So, yeah, if we could get on the agenda for the 17th,
I'll
worst
follow.
case, we'll do it in March.
I'll follow it up with an email, but if we can get them on, I'll get them on, especially if there's the old model stuff. Now, before I walk away from here, my understanding is that we wanted 8, 2 for each building, 2 entrances at each building. Is that, 153 is not gonna cover 8,
At 20 apiece, we're close to it.
close to it.
Yeah, because then we could take a couple, transform like a football field or basketball.
Right.
Yeah, the playground and the metal detector, there we go.
Oh, yeah. Rachel, yeah, I had 3 things, sorry. Can you pull that up?
I have it hidden at the log in.
So, one of the things that we discussed in previous meetings, kind of was charged to kind of go out and get proposals from companies for substitute services. We've received 3 proposals, and I'll give you the financial breakdowns of those. So, these are the 3 companies. This is the cost of exclusive substitutes, day-to-day subs, and retirement subs. This is the district cost today. The company's proposals, you can, I'll get out of the way.
No, I'm the one that's in the way.
What the ESS is financially the cheapest of the 3. They were fairly close. I think they came in at a 28% markup. The others were higher than that, in the 30s. It actually is cheaper per day for us to do this with ESS for day-to-day subs and for exclusive subs. It is not cheaper for us to do this for retirees. Probably most of the reason of the driving factor is Peacer's cost. So, if you're interested in something like this, what I would recommend to you in sheer numbers, and I think the services, all 3 of these are established companies. I would recommend the cheapest with you, and what I would recommend also is if you choose to do this, tell them that we'll go with them for this, but let's keep retirees in-house. And then you get the cheapest school.
Do any of them guarantee a fulfillment rate?
Not in today's world. Years ago, you probably could talk about fill rates. What they're gonna do is take our fill rate that's probably, and I can get this for you, but it's dismal. It's 10%, 15%, and I'd be happy if they raised it to 25%.
So it'll be cheaper and won't be any worse than where we are.
It won't be any worse, and they do, I think all three of them put efforts into recruitment of substitutes. Had them in a previous district, actually two of these companies in previous districts. Most recently, ESS was at Shikellamy, and they increased our subs by probably 25 to 30 people. Now those 25 to 30 people don't think they wanted to work every day. Some of those people wanted to work once a month or not at all or once a week. But in today's world, I'll take anybody that has clean clearances and is willing to substitute and has the credentials to do so. Any thoughts on this?
How much we pay for our teachers cover? That's what you really got to add.
In the contract, it's $30
in our
period.
In our budget. And that's why I want to see the whole number.
I mean, the numbers that you have right now, whatever number we have that we budget, we're not spending because we have about 6 subs that come into this district.
No,
So
we pay teachers the coverage. Every year it's $120,000. We pay teachers to cover our classes.
Oh, yeah, it's over 100,000. I understand where you're going now. It's the $30 a period. Last year, I think equated over $100,000.
And every year that
was 118.
Yeah. So even hiring the super subs that we have in some of our buildings really hasn't taken that price down.
So
anytime we get.
So your super subs, you're using at your middle school and your high school. You can't use them at the elementary level.
No.
The kids just can't handle that at kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth grade. So you're spending that $30 a period in your, I'm pointing that way, but in your elementary schools.
But we're spending a ton of it over here too, right?
And in West. Now.
But the high school and junior high went up?
So, Cheyenne, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I don't think there's a whole lot of $30 coverages happening at the high school, and I don't think there's a whole lot at the middle school because there's the mega subs. Sure.
That's one of those things I want to show you that.
Yeah, we have like 1 or 2 tough periods a day because teachers have their lunch and things like that, but it's very minimal when the teachers are asked.
We're talking about the budget, looking at this. I mean, we did reduce the daily already retired teachers rate many years ago, and I think Johnny Beck was caught up with it. Based upon the numbers we're getting from these other companies, there's room to probably increase that number, so, I mean, just thinking out loud here. If we would increase that, say, from 140 a day to 150, 60, could possibly entice a few more to.
Some people might say yes, and then some people might say you're just gonna pay the ones that come in more.
That's what you're working towards, obviously.
You're never gonna know that until you do it.
Fortunately.
I'm not promoting that you raise the rates, I'm just answering the question. All right, so think about this. How about we have some further discussion on this? I mean, there's no need to throw this on the agenda next week. If you would look to do this, it may be wise to try to get it started before the school year ends so that recruitment could start. But you also could look into doing this next year as well.
Can you only use one of those companies?
I don't know. That question has never come up.
What was the question?
Can you only use one?
I don't know why you'd use more than one. They're gonna recruit from the same base, so.
Yeah, it's probably.
Like, I don't think that just going with 2 is going to, like, if they're gonna find substitutes, one of them's gonna find substitutes versus 2 of them.
I'd like to see the numbers Jeff wants to see.
Sure.
But just, until you see those numbers, I have no opinion.
No, I just wanted to share you
Yeah.
what this is, because I was asked to get this, so.
I mean, if we could do this, it would increase your number of subs by even a handful, it's like you want to go. We'll just say you don't know that.
Now, you're gonna spend more, maybe not on the $30 coverage, you might spend less, but you're gonna spend more on subs because you're not getting them in the door right now. So.
But if they can get you an extra 5 subs, realistically.
Principals, you want 5 subs and we can get 5 subs? So, all right, I'll get those numbers out to the full board. Thanks for reminding me.
Okay, now we're down to public comments. Anyone wanna make public comment for 3 minutes?
Leah Zwolinski, Nescapatch Borough. I'm a bit concerned about some of the comments regarding VOTEC tonight, specifically with the test scores. You're talking about the large population of students they have that are special education and saying that that does not play into their test scores. I think it's important to recognize that special education students often have accommodations that can then not be used for those tests, and that can directly affect your test scores. I think there's a lot of other data that needs to be presented regarding their test scores as well. My second concern is that I think it's a bit hypocritical of some of the people sitting at this table to not be able to recognize a toxic work environment in another facility when they've been able to recognize that in their own. And I think the people working in that facility deserve to have a voice regarding that matter.
Adjourned.
Second.